Welcome everybody to our July meeting and our reorganization meeting. Before we get started, would you please join me in pledging to the flag, pledge allegiance, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. All right, on the agenda is listed the oath of office, but all of our newly elected members were sworn in this morning at district office. Ed Law, Robert Sweeney, and Pete Van Middelum. Congratulations to all of you. They took their oaths with Maureen this morning.
Thank you.
So that brings us on to the reorganization meeting, the election of our officers. So at this time, to start things off, I'd like to call for a nomination for the position of board president.
I nominate Bob Sweeney for board president.
Second.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Because we're on Zoom and we really can't see that much, I would like to take the tally by voice, if that's okay with the board.
Sure.
Let's begin, do that. Bob Sweeney, your vote. Steve Kepper.
Aye.
Ed Law.
Aye.
Pete Van Middelum.
Aye.
Anne Marie Henninger.
Aye.
Lisa Pfeffer.
Aye.
And Rob Pignatello.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Congratulations, Bob, on being elected president by your peers.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to get nominations for the vice president position. Nominations for vice president.
I nominate Steve Kepper for vice president.
Thank you, Ed. Second. Rob seconded. Let's take any other nominations.
I nominate Pete Van Middelum.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. So we have two candidates for vice president. We'll vote on the first candidate first. Steve Kepper. I need to go by voice only. You ready, Maureen? The tally?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Voting for Steve Kepper. Bob Sweeney.
Nay.
Steve.
Aye.
Ed Law.
Aye.
Pete Van Middelum.
Nay.
And Marie Henninger.
Nay.
Lisa Pfeffer.
Aye.
Rob Pignatello.
Aye.
Maureen, if I'm not mistaken, I count 4 votes.
Correct.
So that would mean that the voting goes 4 for Steve and 3 for Pete Van Middelum. Am I correct?
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Right, so then I believe that Steve Kepper remains vice president of the board at this point. Congratulations, Steve. I voted in by your peers. Maureen, do you want to administer the oath of office, please?
Yes. Please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name,
Steve
I,
Kepper.
Robert Sweeney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will
and I will
faithfully
faithfully discharge
the duties of President,
the
Vice
duties
President,
of President
Vice President
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Robert
Congratulations, Bob.
and Stephen.
Thank you.
So at this time, Mr. President, would you like to take over the meeting?
Thank you, Gordon. I just want to take a moment before we begin to thank my colleagues. I think it's important to recognize that coming into this new year, the challenges are pretty significant. But we must not forget that amongst these challenges, which are obvious, the return to school and the mechanizations of doing that, is the social mental health of our students. And that needs to be a very priority matter in our school and in our process. With that said, I'm going to begin the reorganization meeting. We have broken it up into topics that most of them will cover a number of items. The first is 1 through 21. Pete, would you please address 1 through 21? And if you'll notice, or rather 1 through 5, if you'll notice, each one is set between certain paragraphs. You can list those as 1 through 5 as listed.
Okay, 1 through 5 is listed and then read off the rest. Okay, yes. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves appointments 1 through 5 as listed.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Any comments? All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And we're going to move over to the next page. That is 1 through 21. You'll notice at the end, we do have a 22, so that will have to be read separately. Anne Marie, will you please deal with 1 through 21?
Chair appointments. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves 1 through 21 as listed.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rob. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye. Aye.
No nays. Carried. Number 22, Anne Marie, would you please complete that?
Sure. Number 22, Dignity Act Building Level Coordinators. The Mount Sinai Board of Education hereby appoints the following individuals as Building Level Dignity Act Coordinators for the 2020-2021 school year. In the elementary school, Brian McCarthy. Middle school, Chris Heil. And in the high school, Christina Romeo.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rob. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye. Aye.
Vote carries. E, designations. Ed, would you please take that?
Designation. I'm sorry, I just lost my spot on the page.
That's
So
all right.
designations. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves designations 1 through 4 as follows.
Thank you. All in favor? Indicate aye. Aye. That
Who
brings us
seconded
over-
that?
Steve did.
Oh, okay, thank you.
F, internal financial management procedures. Rob?
The Mount Sinai Board of Education will continue for the fiscal year of 2020-21 its present policy regarding authority to sign checks wherein. Bullet point 1, the payroll account checks require the signature of a facsimile signature of the Treasury or the Deputy Treasurer. Treasurer or Deputy Treasurer. All other accounts require the 2 signatures or facsimile signatures of either the President or the District Clerk and the Treasurer or Deputy Treasurer. Checks in the amount of $10,000 or greater require live signatures, except checks in remittance of payroll taxes, payroll and employee deductions, checks for inter-account transfers, and checks for reimburse the lunch contractor. Oh, second page. Checks to reimburse the bus contractor, checks in payment of utility services when delay may result in late penalties, and checks in payment of school insurance premiums.
May I have a second?
I'll
I second that.
Thank you, Ed. Just as a comment to explain that process, our new check writing security program produces our checks, produces a facsimile facsimile check for security purposes. Those are then initialed depending on the amount, either by myself and or the district clerk, or the district or the treasurer, and then live checks are a separate signing process. We retain the facsimile version as well, and we can see that attached with the backup material, the purchase order, whatever those items are, that's retained. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote carried. Lisa, would you do G, wire transfers?
Sure. The Mount Sinai Board of Education hereby authorizes the treasurer or deputy treasurer to make wire transfers for the fiscal year 2020-21.
Second.
Thank you, Ron. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Vote carries. Steve, would you please do bonding? H.
The Mount Sinai Board of Education hereby establishes the amount of the bonding of the district treasurer to be $1 million for the fiscal year 2020-2021.
May I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Pete. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Vote carries. Authorizations I, 1 and 2. Ed, would you please take that?
Authorizations. State reports. The Mount Sinai Board of Education hereby authorizes the signature of either the superintendent or executive assistant on health, federal, and state reports for the 2020-21 fiscal year. And 2, payroll certification officers. The Mount Sinai Board of Education hereby authorizes the signature of either the superintendent or executive assistant to certify payrolls for the 2020-21 fiscal year.
Second.
Thank you, Ed. May I have a second? Was that you, Rob?
Yes.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Vote carries. J, other. District policies, codes of ethics. Pete?
J, other, district policies, code of ethics. Mount Sinai Board of Education hereby readopts all district policies and code of ethics in effect during the previous year.
Second.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rob. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Aye. That concludes the reorganization meeting. We will proceed into our regular July board meeting. As is our custom, we will have a 15-minute question period. That will be by way of the chat feature on Zoom. Steve, you will assist and indicate per writer. They get one question. We always could come back to them if they have a second question. And then at the end, we have general questions if you have some general questions. Roman numeral 3, approval of the minutes. Anne Marie?
Sure. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby accepts the minutes results of the June 9th, 2020 annual meeting and the minutes of the June 17th, 2020 regular meeting as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Vote carries. Thank you. Any questions on the agenda?
I have nothing
Not very
in chat
long.
as of now.
Thank you. We'll proceed then. Roman numeral 5, personnel. A, resignation. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to do this. Dorette Christensen, office assistant. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation for retirement purposes of Dorette Christensen, office assistant, effective no later than September 1st, 2020. Further, Ms. Christensen shall receive the benefits associated with the memorandum of agreement dated June 20th, 2019. May I have a second?
I'll
Second that.
Thank you, Pete. I just want to offer some comments. I don't know if you all have met Dorette. Dorette started with the school district in 1980. She worked in the business office from 1980 until 1991, and then proceeded into the high school and was instrumental at that time in 1991 in the transition and the opening of the new high school, and basically got it running. Dorette has been a fixture in this district for quite some time. I've had the pleasure of working with her, and she exudes professionalism, and she will be missed by this district, and we must thank her for her long service, her great service, and all that she contributed to this community and the students. With that said, may I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote carries. B, Rob, appointment substitute teacher.
Substitute teacher dispatcher. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby appoints Matthew Dyroff as substitute teacher dispatcher for the 2020-21 fiscal year as per administrator's contract.
Thank you, Rob. May I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor indicate by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Vote carries. Action items. Anne Marie, Committee on Special Education.
Committee on Special Education. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education has no objections to the following special education recommendations and approves the authorization for the funds to implement the special education programs and services consistent with such.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Vote carries. B, Steve, obsolete equipment.
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby declares the following items as obsolete and further authorizes disposal as listed. 1 Covedian thermometer, serial tag 008968 from the elementary school to be discarded. A 22-inch Toro mower, serial tag 011347 from grounds department to PK Metals for scrap. And a Job Pro pressure washer, tag 20091092 from grounds to PK Metals for scrap.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Ed, bid award.
Bid award. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby awards the athletic grounds field maintenance, storm drain cleaning, and material removal bid to Parkline, the lowest responsible bidder, as a unit price award for the 2020-21 school year.
May I have a second?
Second that.
Second.
Thank you, Pete. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
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 Secra 2020 capital project. Pete?
Number D, secret 2020 capital project. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following secret resolution for the 2020 capital project. Whereas the Board of Education of the Mount Sinai Union Free School District desires to embark upon a capital improvement project consisting of the elementary school toilet room renovations and water heater replacement, middle school toilet room renovations and water heater replacement, and the high school roof replacement phase 3, and pipe fittings replacement. And whereas said capital improvement projects at the elementary school, middle school, and high school are subject to classification under State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and whereas replacement, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of a structure or facility in kind on the same site, including upgrading buildings to meet building, energy, and fire codes, unless such action meets or exceeds any of the thresholds in section 617.4 of this part, are classified as type 2 actions under the current Department of Environmental Conservation SECRA regulations, section 6, NYCRR 617.5, subject 2. And whereas the SECRA Act regulations declare type 2 actions to be actions that have no significant impact on the environment and require no further review under SECRA, and whereas the Board of Education of the Mount Sinai Union Free School District has examined all the information relating to the elementary school toilet room renovations and water heater replacement, middle school toilet room renovations and water heater replacement, and the high school roof replacement phase 3 and pipe fittings replacement project, and has determined that said capital improvements are classified as a type 2 action pursuant to section 617.52 of the secret regulations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Sinai Union Free School District hereby declares itself lead agency in connection with the requirements of the State Environmental Quality Act, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education of the Mount Sinai Union Free School District hereby declares that the elementary school toilet room renovations and water heater replacement, middle school toilet room renovations and water heater replacement, and the high school roof replacement phase 3 and pipe fittings replacement are a type 2 action, which requires no further review under SECRA, and be it further resolved that the Mount Sinai Union Free School District hereby shall forward an official copy of this resolution to the New York State Education Department, together with a copy of the correspondence from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation in connection with its request for approval of the listed projects from the New York State Education Department.
I missed the second paragraph, if you could start over. Any comments? All in favor indicate aye.
Aye.
Aye. Steve, general questions?
We have
John.
2.
Oh, there he is.
First one is asking about, has the district created a return to school or not committee inclusive of constituents, admin, teachers, school social worker, parents, for all schools? If so, how is recruiting happening?
Could
Yes,
you
we had a
repeat that,
meeting.
please? You broke up there.
Sure. Has the district created a return to school or not committee inclusive of all constituents, admin, teachers, school social worker, parents from all schools? If so, how is recruiting happening?
We did have a meeting last week with quite a large constituency, what we consider the stakeholders, all the psychologists, social workers, principals, teachers union representation, Bob Sweeney and Anne-Marie Henninger representing the board. And the parents at this meeting were all represented by the SBOs, the PTO, SEPTO, Friends of the Arts, and Booster Club. Those are the parents represented at that meeting. Nothing really, we listened to all the problems, we talked about the challenge we face, because I shared with this committee all of the issues I've been sharing with the superintendents in our neighboring districts, which is the lack of guidance from the state. As we hear Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, other states putting out reopening plans, New York does not have one. I did find out yesterday from BOCES that the governor state is not working with the State Department of Education, who's working with the health department on a plan to reopen. And we hope to have that one in mid-July. But to create a plan, although the 3 buildings have their building committees as well, and they've been talking with their social workers, psychologists about issues with the particular age groups. So as Bob opened this meeting, we're very cognizant of the issues our kids face. After all, if you come back in September, they won't be in school for 6 months. As a matter of fact, our social work psychologists were very busy during the closure, contacting homes, as well as our guidance counselors following up. We realize the mental health aspect is extremely important. So that is going on as we speak, but a formal plan at this point, other than discussions with the union and the buildings, no, because we don't have any guidance from the state at this point. So hopefully that will happen mid to the 3rd week in July, and we'll actually formulate our plan. But we're progressing this way. 1, upgrading and completing with union agreement our online learning plan for the district to unite one platform across all 3 buildings, which will include instructional time per day and teachers' personal appearance with students. That's my #1 priority. Because when they're talking now, we may be part of the week coming to school, part of the week being online. And then the question is, if the illness comes back strong, or we have students or staff coming down with COVID and we close again, that's a must. to have our online program totally revamped and upgraded. And that way we're going to broadcast it to parents and our teachers so all expectations are clear. We're also offering training, beginning and advanced classes for teachers and classes, professional development for parents as well over the summer, so we're prepared. Phase 2, should we open regular? What safeguards, safety are we putting in place for staff and students? Third plan, looking at the alternatives available, A-Day, B-Day, 1 week in, 1 week out, all these scenarios we have to discuss and agree with the union. So it goes in phases, but everyone is waiting for guidance from the state, and I hope that answers the question.
Just to add to that, Gordon, we're choosing to proceed with discussions of alternative plans, particularly with the state has not issued any guidance or SED. If you look around to our neighboring states, Connecticut and New Jersey have issued plans or issued guidelines that are assisting. They have different structures for their school district.
Mm-hmm.
We also invited and started the program with our transportation company, their representative, who has been working with us for many, many years, who started the program discussing the safety challenges of transportation of our children. If you can't get them to and from school safe, you could have all the plans you want. And what was interesting was this was the first time he was invited to a district to speak. And it's one of the largest nationwide transportation companies. He brought to us a lot of additional resources that has gathered from other regions that we might not have access to. So it's quite a comprehensive group.
Right, you're correct, Bob. First Student has 52 districts. We're the first one to approach him regarding transit.
Good, thank you. Steve's picture keeps moving around, so I have to look for him. What was your other question?
The first one is related to feedback on a petition and essay sent regarding student experiences related to systemic racism in the school district. Asking if there's feedback related to that, Gordon?
Yeah, you're breaking up, but I think I got your question. Yeah, already that Pete Pramateris, the high school principal, is putting together a committee involving all of the students, and Christina Romeo is forming that committee as we speak to discuss what we could do with students, staff, community, and what PD, professional development training, we can put in place to help address racism.
Thank you, Steve. Any other questions?
Oh, that's it.
All right. With that said, I will take a motion to adjourn to executive session for contractual, legal, and personnel matters.
So moved.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Pete. Thank you all for participating, and thank you for your confidence in me for this year going forward, and I look forward to working with you all. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Yeah.